Hey guys, welcome to 10's Trending Topics, where we talk about the hottest topics in this week's news. So, we have a lot of topics this week. A lot of stuff has been going on, especially with the Oscars. So, our first topic is about Joan Rivers. And obviously, the Oscars were this past Sunday, and a lot of controversy going around the kind of memoriam they did of all the actors and actresses who've passed away, I guess, this past year. I think they usually do. But Joan Rivers wasn't mentioned. So, I know a lot of people are upset about it. I know Juliana Rancic was upset about it, basically saying like Joan was the red carpet, like I can't believe they didn't even mention her, like blah blah blah. So what do you guys think?
I mean, I totally agree. I was really surprised when they didn't mention her. I was honestly a little bit upset because I do love Joan Rivers so much.
Hmm.
But I mean, the Academy did make a statement that most that the list was so hefty this year, and that they were all people who were directly, in film, and there just wasn't enough time for her to be in the telecast, but she's in the memoriam on the website, which is a great honor. But
Hmm.
I mean, it still kind of sucks that she wasn't in the actual
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah. I think her daughter handled it pretty well too. How she just kind of was like, we're just focusing on the positive, me and Connor. So, I mean, that's all they really can do. So I think
Yeah.
it helped that she took it with stride.
Yeah, I think she handled it really well.
Mhm.
Because if it's going to be hard for anyone, it's going to be the hardest for her and her grandson. So,
Hmm.
Really.
Yeah, especially just because like although she really wasn't into acting, I don't think she was, right? She wasn't really into acting
I
really.
mean,
So
they did. I mean, they never had an Oscar-nominated movie, granted, but
yeah.
no.
she's been in a
But
couple
she's,
of films.
Yeah, and she literally like was the red carpet though.
For
Like so that's why everyone I think was kind of like so taken back by the fact that she wasn't mentioned. So
I agree.
I think that's what shocks me the most. Like when I think of the red carpet, you'd have to just associate Joan Rivers with it. So the fact that you couldn't find a couple of minutes to like honor her is kind of, I thought was shocking.
hmm.
I mean, the memoriam stuff on the page, that's fine, but I think they could have found a couple of minutes. I don't,
Definitely.
that's just my opinion.
Okay, our next trending topic comes from Krista.
All right, so on Monday night's Fashion Police, Juliana critiques Zendaya's dreadlocks at the Oscars, saying she felt like she smelled like weed and patchouli oil. So Zendaya obviously immediately shot back, saying that she wore her locks like that to show women of color and their hair in a positive light, which has been a huge thing lately. If you guys watch How to Get Away with Murder, Viola Davis did a whole scene where she was taking off all her. It's just been a huge issue, and people have really been trying to shed it in a positive light, wearing their hair like that. So after that happened, a lot of people got really fired up, including fellow host Kelly Osbourne. She had vented to Twitter and said she even considered quitting because people were associating her with the comments, and she's one of Zendaya's friends. And a couple other celebrities fired back and really sided with Zendaya and the whole thing. So eventually Juliana issued two public apologies, one on Twitter, and then she made a public statement on E! News. And then just today, Zendaya accepted her apology. So what do you guys think about the whole situation? Do you think Juliana's apology was sincere?
Yeah, I mean, I have nothing against Zendaya at all, and I'm not saying Juliana was right either, but I think it was just like an honest mistake that like she did not mean to say it like that. And and I think it definitely was sincere. I mean, I watched her apologize on E! News, and she definitely seemed like so like upset because she's never in the media like negatively. So I think it really like made her like open her eyes that she has to be careful what she says.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I never, ever would ever, associate Juliana with being, a racist person. And
Yeah.
honestly, the first time when she apologized, she said that it absolutely had nothing to do with race, which is something that I think is true. I looked up I had no idea what patchouli oils were, but I looked,
Yeah.
yeah, I looked
What
it up.
they're like some Asian smell, or it doesn't even make sense what she was
No, I
referring.
read that it was a perfume used to mask body oil and the like BO and like the smell of weed, which like in and of itself is like a blatant insult, being like you like smell so bad that you
Definitely.
cover it up.
Yeah.
But like it's something that hippies used. And I don't think that, I think that when Juliana was talking about it, she was associating it, like what she said in her tweet, she was associating it with, like, boho chic, like, hippie culture, not necessarily, like, African American, like, black, West Indian, Rastafarian culture. I don't think that was her intent at all, but it was taken that way. And I think that the fact that she apologized twice and in such a sincere way was really noble of her. And I think that the way Zendaya handled the whole thing was incredible. Her, her first written, like, response to what was said was very well written, very eloquent, and, just, it wasn't necessarily like, you did this to me, I'm mad at you, like, you're a bitch. It was like, you said this, it was wrong because of this. And I really, I look up to her for that. I think that was really great.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't even mention Juliana's name.
Yeah, she didn't mention her name. She didn't. It was, great.
I also think on Fashion Police there's like a fine line because obviously they make so many jokes on Fashion Police all the time, and like obviously they're never really that appropriate to begin with. So I think Juliana just took it a step too far, and I don't think she just realized it. So
exactly. And also I was reading about that, like, the whole thing, because it's been so big, apparently they shot that scene 3 times, and Kelly was like, Zendaya is a friend of mine, she's a friend of the show, I don't think this is appropriate, and they shot it 3 times, and they decided to keep it in. I think that if they honestly thought it was a racially charged thing or anything like that, they would have taken it out in a second,
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
gotta think they're they're in such a rough spot too because they lost Joan, who that was her thing. Those kind of comments. I mean, not necessarily racist ones, and Juliana's in this place where she's trying to make up for what they lost, and she's not Joan. No one ever will be. So it's got to be hard to figure out what jokes are appropriate, and because Joan could say anything and you knew it was Joan and it'd just be okay.
Definitely.
So it's just it's hard.
All right, well, our next topic comes from Tyler.
Okay, so kind of back to race relations a little bit, but Neil Patrick Harris hosted the Oscars this Sunday. I personally thought it was a great show. It might have been a little bit boring than other shows have been. Like, it definitely wasn't an Ellen show, but it was good. He did a good job, and I think that one of the things that was important about him hosting the show was that he brought up the fact that, it was the whitest Oscars in, 10, 15 years or something like that. He, literally his first joke was, tonight's the night where we celebrate the best and the whitest. Oh, wait, I mean brightest. He, like, shed light on something that was really incredibly awkward for everyone there. And I think that that was really necessary. Also, people were, like, saying that he was just bringing race into it too much, which I don't think he was, like, consciously doing such a thing. Like, he asked Octavia Spencer to watch, like, this box of his predictions all night because, he's a magician, and made a magic joke at the end of it. And he made a joke about Brits and spoke to David can't say his last name, not even going to try, talk to him about it. So people were like, oh, just because, like, black people weren't nominated for any awards, you decided to talk to all of them in the, like, audience. He hasn't made any comments yet, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
It was really, I mean, I don't think anything was intentional, and how could you not make a joke about it when that's all we've been talking about is how this Oscar in general was so white compared. It was like the whitest one since, what did they say, 90-something, 98 or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like you have to make a joke about it as the host. And if I was the host, it's just expected of you. But other than that, I think the whole night there was a few comments that were kind of like, ooh, I can't believe they went there. I don't know who was presenting for Best Film, but the Birdman director is Mexican, and he's an immigrant, and I don't know who it was that was presenting. I can't remember, but yeah, and he made a comment like, somebody get this guy his green card already.
He said, how did this bastard get his green card?
Oh my God.
Yeah, It's just there's a couple times throughout the show where I was like, oh, there we go. But
Yeah.
I mean,
The thing about that comment, I think, though, like specifically that one, I don't really know the background of any other like crazy comment that was made. But
Yeah.
the director and Sean Penn are very good friends. The I forget his name, the director's name, but they've worked on films together. I think Sean Penn won an award for one of the films that they worked on together. So like, and the way that they treat each other is like sharp jab friendship. You know, like that's a common thing for them. That's what their friendship is based off of, and I think that that's something people have to take into consideration when they're presenting something, as well as when they're judging a situation. You know, like you're not one of the two people in the situation, so you have no idea what their relationship is. So honestly, you don't really have, you know, a say in like how they treat each other. But at the same time, you know, you're on a public stage. There are 18,000 million people watching you right now. You probably shouldn't be making like jokes like that. So I think
I totally agree.
Two sides to every story.
Yeah.
People need to stop being so judgmental about every single thing that's said in the media.
I know
Take things
the
away.
problem with like all of these stories, they're all fueled by the media, and everyone just takes a side or makes a speculation, and
Yeah.
things get out of control. So
Like the headlines are crazy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I guess that's it for this week's trending topic. Make sure you watch next time and follow us on Twitter at 10byIam, and we'll see you later. Bye.
bye.
Bye.